In the year 1804, a dramatic shift shook the foundations of Europe. A military genius named Napoleon Bonaparte, who had risen through the ranks during the chaos of the French Revolution, crowned himself Emperor of the French. The ceremony, held in the grand halls of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, symbolized more than a political transformation. It marked the dawn of a new imperial age. With a golden laurel crown upon his head, Napoleon declared to the world that France was once again a dominant power. The Napoleonic Wars had begun. In the years that followed, Napoleon launched a series of military campaigns across the continent. The first of these came in 1805, with the formation of the Third Coalition, a powerful alliance of Britain, Austria, and Russia. Napoleon moved quickly, leading his troops across Europe in a lightning-fast march. The resulting clash at the Battle of Austerlitz became one of his greatest victories. On a foggy December morning, Napoleon lured the Allied forces into a trap and decimated their armies. The Austrian Empire was forced to sue for peace, and the map of Europe began to change in France's favor. In 1806, Napoleon turned his attention to Prussia, whose leadership had underestimated French strength. At the Battle of Jena-Auerstedt, the Prussian army was crushed in a single day. French forces marched into Berlin, and Napoleon established the Continental System, a large-scale economic blockade designed to cripple Britain's economy by cutting off its trade with Europe. However, enforcing this blockade proved difficult. Spain, once an ally, resisted French interference. In 1808, Napoleon invaded the Iberian Peninsula, placing his brother Joseph on the Spanish throne. But the Spanish people rose in revolt. Fierce guerrilla warfare broke out, aided by British forces under Sir Arthur Wellesley, later known as the Duke of Wellington. The Peninsular War became a costly and prolonged conflict that drained French resources and morale. In 1809, Austria once again challenged Napoleon, sparking the War of the Fifth Coalition. Although the Austrians were defeated at the Battle of Wagram, they inflicted serious casualties. Napoleon, seeking to secure his dynasty, married Marie-Louise, the daughter of the Austrian emperor, forging a brief political alliance. But it was in 1812 that Napoleon made his most fateful decision: to invade Russia. Leading the largest army Europe had ever seen, over 600,000 men, Napoleon crossed into Russian territory. The initial battles were inconclusive, and the French army pressed deeper into the vast, unforgiving landscape. At Borodino, one of the bloodiest battles of the era, the French won a costly victory. But the Russians did not surrender. Instead, they burned Moscow and retreated, refusing to give Napoleon a decisive battle. Trapped by the onset of a brutal Russian winter, and without supplies, Napoleon's Grande Armée began its infamous retreat from Moscow. Starvation, frostbite, disease, and relentless attacks from Russian forces decimated the army. Fewer than 100,000 men made it out alive. The myth of Napoleon's invincibility was shattered. Sensing weakness, the European powers united once more in 1813, forming the Sixth Coalition. At the monumental Battle of Leipzig, also known as the Battle of Nations, over 600,000 troops clashed in the largest battle in European history up to that point. Napoleon was defeated and forced to retreat into France. By early 1814, the Allied armies invaded France itself. Napoleon fought desperately to defend his empire, but the odds were insurmountable. Paris fell in March, and in April, Napoleon was forced to abdicate the throne. He was exiled to the small Mediterranean island of Elba, and the Bourbon monarchy was restored in France under Louis XVIII. Though Napoleon's final chapter, the 100 Days, and his defeat at Waterloo in 1815 would come later, the events from 1804 to 1814 represent the rise and fall of one of history's most brilliant and controversial leaders. The Napoleonic Wars redrew borders, shifted powers, and ignited the forces of nationalism, liberalism, and military innovation that would shape the modern world. Europe emerged, scarred, changed, and forever marked by the ambition of one man whose name would echo through the ages: Napoleon Bonaparte.